Welcome to Uniquely Brilliant, a podcast for creative, quirky, and extraordinary thinkers of all ages and the people who love them. We encourage, inspire, and provide strategies to motivate you to embrace your unique brilliance and realize your potential for success. Hi, I'm Diana Bader, also known as Coach Di. I encourage teens and young adults to become who they are and develop personal success through self-awareness and positivity. You can find me at freshcanvascoaching.com, follow and like the Fresh Canvas Facebook page, or follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Di.
Hello there, I'm Becky Berry. I am a performance coach who helps people level up their lives by smoothing out the relationship between their work lives and their personal lives. You can find my website at beckyberrycoach.com. I'm on Twitter at Becky Berry Coach, and you can find me on my Facebook page, Becky Berry Coach.
Together we are here sharing our thoughts, insights, and experiences from our own uniquely brilliant perspective. I was like, give her a ring the bell.
I knew you were. I saw that hand go over there.
All right. Yeah, it's not like we've done this for 97. Oh.
All right. So then just count to 3 and then go.
I give myself, I've got to count to 10. Alrighty, it's episode 97, and today we're talking about getting grounded.
Yep, you need to get grounded.
I definitely do.
Why you need to get grounded? Well, yeah, we talked about this because in episode 96, Diana brought out some stuff about needing to be grounded, so we decided we'd talk about it.
Yeah.
So go.
Well, it's funny because I've been thinking about it a lot this weekend after talking to a friend of mine who really grounds me and realized how ungrounded I am. Uh-huh. Although people would refer to me as being grounded or down to earth or those kind of terms, when in fact, really, my head is in the clouds. I'm in the clouds. I'm most comfortable when I'm flying and flitting and exploring everything.
Yeah, but grounded doesn't have to do with like flying around and flitting. It just has to do with knowing who you are, where you are. Sort of.
I mean, I take that with me.
Well, I know. Yeah. I know that, but I think it's the essence of why you can do that, because you know who you are wherever you're flying, or not in this current situation, but you are good about knowing who you are wherever you are.
Well, one of the things, that I am, and that I take with me, and I think that's what when I was thinking about when we were talking about this, is to me it's the difference between me being grounding and grounded. I'm like a grounding person. I'm a grounding person to be around because I know who I am. Uh-huh. But I don't necessarily feel that grounded unless I'm in the company of other people who are grounded. Does that make sense?
I think it's interesting, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Because I don't have that same feeling, so let's go.
Oh, about me? Or about it, in general?
I just always feel pretty grounded.
Well, yeah, and that makes sense to me.
Right?
Yeah, because you have a very strong, solid foundation.
Right. And
I was thinking this weekend, I've been in here in Atlanta too long. I mean,
you're planning to leave.
Yeah,
so
I know, but I talked about that
I've
talked about that for a long time. And I realized this weekend that what it is I feel like I've been circling Atlanta.
Oh, I can see that.
And never found a place to land in recent years.
Girl, I'm like, that's like perfect.
Yeah.
I totally get this.
And so...
Because you never like the place you're living right now.
No.
And the place you came from, we won't even discuss.
Yeah.
So, oh man.
So
that's brutal.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I won't move.
Yeah.
Because I'm totally grounded here.
Oh, you're
Do you
totally,
know?
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah, you're rooted.
I don't mean move from Georgia. I mean move from this house.
Yeah, well, you're rooted.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not even just grounded. You're rooted. But that's great. I mean, that's a thing. I mean, so you can form a real solid foundation.
Yeah.
You already come from a solid foundation. So... It gives you something different.
Yeah.
But
that's a perfect... I hadn't thought about it. I knew you were ready to leave because you have a time frame. It's not like you're just saying it.
No.
You have a time frame. But I never thought about that you'd never had a chance to flourish, really, at any place you have been in Georgia.
Yeah, it came to me this weekend. It's like, when you fly in and you have to keep circling before the airport will let you land. That's kind of what it feels like.
I can totally picture that.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So even though I know who I am and stuff, I've just been flying and
circling,
just been circling. Like the hawks. Sometimes I can glide and cruise along on the little thing. I'm like, I can live with that. But I've been that way forever. I mean, I remember probably at least the first week, if not the first day of ninth grade. Mm-hmm. Getting in, and we had a really cool ninth grade because it was in a separate building than the main campus of high school. So the class, because our two middle schools came together there and then gelled as a class and then moved to the others.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was very neat. But I remember walking in there and walking down the hall, and all I could think about was, what do I have to do for the next 4 years to get the heck out of here?
Yeah.
And it's weird because I've been in that similar mindset.
Did you go far away? I mean, was the place you went to college far away from?
No, but I wanted to.
Yeah. So did I. I wanted to go to California.
Yeah, I wanted to go to Arizona.
Girl, look at that. Another thing we have in common.
And I wasn't accepted until after I
wasn't allowed to apply.
Well,
just saying.
I did.
But nowhere west of the Mississippi or north of the Mason-Dixon line. And no girls' schools.
Interesting. Well, because I was always threatened to be sent to a girls' school. All girls' school.
Oh, that'd be awesome, but no.
For me, that would have been like torture because most of my friends were male and I wouldn't have known what the heck to do. That would have been like foreign territory for me. But
so you wanted to get the heck out of Dodge.
I did,
and you settled.
And I didn't really settle as much. I was at least a couple hours away, but it did feel kind of like settling. And actually, I had a plan. Even when I decided to do that, I had a plan to transfer.
Oh yeah,
but
so you have like a term limits on where you live. Mm-hmm. Well, remember, I used to change jobs every 6 months. Yeah. That's why I have a 6-page resume.
Uh-huh. And I
mean, literally 6 months. Ding, ding. Okay, I'm going.
And see, that's where you've got that, everybody, when you think of somebody grounded, you think of like a big oak tree. But, you're more branching than that,
right. Exactly. So are you.
Mm-hmm. But you're staying, but you're grounded. That's what I'm saying. You're grounded, but you've got one of those cool trees that, spreads out all over the place.
Gnarly ones. One of those gnarly trees.
Brings lots of shade to everybody. Yeah. So I think I just believe I was born to fly, even if it's not physically, my thoughts are always going.
Yep.
My ideas, problem solving. That's why I love to problem solve, is because you can't throw an idea at me that I can't come up with some solution that nobody else is going to even think of.
That's true.
So I fly in a whole bunch of different ways. And so what I used to refer to is, and I think what I'm craving more than like leaving is just finding a place to land, because you can't fly forever.
No.
And I've just never found the place to land, or
recently. Mm-hmm. Not even just recently, for a couple of decades.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And so that's what I think I want more than anything else, because even if I'm going to fly, you got to be grounded at some point.
Well, that was what my next question was. So do you feel like you can't be grounded until you do that? Like you can't be grounded in Georgia?
I can't be grounded until I find that place where I can land.
Interesting.
Or not, I can be grounding. I can't be, I don't know I can't set roots or whatever. I don't even know if I can be rootsy anyway, but I don't feel settled.
Solid is what I was thinking.
Yeah. Totally on solid ground.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Interesting.
And I have no idea what that means or what it looks like, but that's one of those things that goes back to just trusting the universe and letting it happen.
Did you ever feel, do you think, looking back, that you felt grounded before?
I think growing up, I totally felt grounded.
Mm-hmm. Which is why you had the wings.
Yeah.
Because you have to go together.
Yeah, you have to be able to have a launching point. I think you have to be able to have a launching point and a landing point.
Which is why you miss it, because you've had it.
Mm-hmm. And I know what
And you know what it feels like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Why do you think it's so important to have it?
A landing point or being grounded?
Being grounded. Why is it so important to be grounded?
Well, I think because one of the things that we always talk about, that's the only place you can truly pause.
Oh, stop. Wait, excuse me. I don't have any music right now, but this would be the stamp of brilliance. So, being grounded is the only place you can pause
and launch from.
Woo!
It's you can't.
No wonder I've launched 167 times.
Exactly. I mean, you can just be popping up everywhere. I remember when we had in this house we had ivy growing everywhere.
Oh yeah.
And every time the kids would try to dig up the ivy, more ivy would pop up back up. So you're almost like ivy because you can just it's not going anywhere.
Well, I think being grounded. I think being grounded is. I think you're more grounded than you think you are, because I don't think you can be resilient unless you're grounded, and you're very resilient. I don't think you're grounded the way you want to be. I do think you're grounded some.
Yeah.
I'm pretty grounded.
Well, yeah. I mean, I land. I pause. I do stuff, but I think I bounce more than. It's like
trying to find that place to settle.
Yeah, get comfortable.
Looking for that nest. Yeah,
this isn't comfortable.
But I do think you are. I do think you are pretty grounded because of the way you operate. Do you know? I mean, maybe there are different ways of being grounded.
Well, you know what though? I think part of that comes from the fact that I know what it is from growing up. I've been there. I know what it is, and that my foundation helped me and allowed me to be me.
Yeah,
like right from the get go.
Well, and that is grounding.
And so I can be grounded. I think anywhere, and I think that's why I like to fly. But I can't. I guess nest or whatever else for the lack of. But I can't. There's not like one.
You can't put that root down.
Yeah,
I think you do want like a taproot. Is what I totally picture. I think you do want one.
I think. Well, you know what I think it is. I think it's that. Or even a launching point, someplace that you go back and forth to, just one place instead of like
pad.
Yeah,
a landing pad. Yeah, I think you do. I think and you want one that's
stable.
That it's yours.
Yeah,
because your last two haven't been yours. I mean, there was the fake yours, and this one is kind of yours, but you've never liked it. The boys have never liked it.
Yeah.
So and they're flying off on their own now. So. I just picture you want something that's like, this is mine.
Yeah.
I like everything about this. I like my home. I like my area. I want to have ownership and belonging inside my own space.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I think you're 100% right. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you are very grounded. So I'm just going to have to challenge that because you are very grounded. And you just said it. But that's what we were saying, there are different ways of being grounded. I believe that if you know who you are,
yeah,
and you trust yourself pretty much, because that's another, that was the last episode 96 was about trust. But if you know who you are and you trust yourself, then you're pretty grounded. Then if we throw in you trust the universe, then you're totally grounded. Even if you're not in the place you want to be, because those are really what grounds you. Plus you've got those people. Do you know? You've got those people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not grounded without my peeps.
You know what? Now that you say that, maybe you're there. Like you're saying, there's a couple ways to be grounded.
Mm-hmm.
And I take my grounding with me.
Absolutely. Do you know people think I'm wherever I travel? I'm from there. I was talking to a client the other day, a potential client. She thought I was from New York. I laughed. I'm like, no. And when I'm in New York, I sound like I'm from New York. Ken's the same way. Boston, I sound like I'm from Boston. California, I'm like, no, I'm from Georgia. And they're like, what? So I think that's, you're the same way. You just take it with you. You just take it with you. Because, I know who I am. So whatever's going on around me, okay, cool, whatever.
I think that goes back to some of the trusting thing and that foundation and everything else is that when you are internally grounded, then you can take it with you.
Yeah.
And so being away from your grounding space, then it's not scary.
Right.
And that's why you and I can do so many different things is because it's always with us.
I picture that you're looking, my analogy, right? Mm-hmm. Of when I'm trying to trust a process, I picture myself falling back into a bed, right? A feather bed, that gives it. So I think that's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
I think you're looking for that physical, because I can go upstairs and do that right now.
Yeah.
And you could do that, but you wouldn't be like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I hate this house. When am I going to get out of this house?
Yeah.
You know, and I don't have that.
Yeah, that's really interesting because when I travel, I sometimes feel more grounded than I do at home.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. For the first 2.5, 3 years after Bo died, the only place I really slept well was in a hotel or somebody else's house.
Yeah, isn't that weird? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what's weird, you know, and I was coming back here, but it was like, no, it wasn't here. Yeah. I can see that because, you know, you just don't like your house.
No.
Your kids don't like your house.
No.
And it's not, well, you know,
well, grounding
it served
isn't
its
just
purpose.
Yeah.
But that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah.
It is part of that.
Yeah.
Because obviously, if you don't feel grounded, but you are, it is part of it. It is that being able to go into a place and go, you think it's an accident? Let's see. Let me name the 22 things I did in the year after he died to this house.
Yeah.
You know, I just did a lot of stuff. Part of it was because I couldn't walk into the same house that I'd walked into 30 years and he wasn't here. Mm-hmm. But, you know, I changed floors. I painted things. You know, we recorded in his office, which I couldn't even walk into for like a year. And then, you know, so all those things to change it up to make it the new mine, right? So I think that maybe since you were in college, you haven't had a place that was mine. That's mine.
Yeah, that could be. Or it wasn't, even if it was technically mine, it wasn't.
Didn't fit.
It didn't fit, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's all part of the service here.
Well, and I also feel that the people you surround yourself with are grounding too.
Oh yeah, you ground me.
Yeah.
For sure.
Which is really funny. But, I mean.
Not really.
It's, in my mind right now, it seems funny. But,
It makes sense to me.
No, well, it does, because I do tend to see myself as a grounding person.
Well, but you know, the disparate parts of our personalities allow me to be grounded, and I think the same way for you.
Yeah.
You know? Because when we're in meetings and when we do stuff and when we're here, we always know we're safe. Mm-hmm. Right? We're safe.
Yeah.
But I can feel that you're not feeling grounded now. I can just feel it. That's my thing.
Yeah.
I'm not like you're a real empath. No, I'm not quite that way. But there's certain things I can tell. And there's certain things people can tell about me because all of my students, and I always had the trickiest, most troublesome students, but they walked into my presence and they were like, I'm safe here.
Yeah.
And it's that grounding. It's that.
Well, and I think.
And it's that acceptance. You know, I'm like, well, you're fine just like you are. So, hey.
Yeah. And I think that's part of our internal grounding is that we just accept people as they are.
Right.
And I think when you find people in your world that just accept you as you are.
Right.
That is one of the most grounding feelings ever because you know, well, and it goes back to the trust, you know that what they say, what they do is. It's a safe space.
Right.
It's and you can trust it.
Right. I think that's critical. I think it's critical. So it is a combination of trusting yourself and maybe this is it because it's trusting where you are too. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's part of. It's a different spin on what you experience. Is that I don't mean where you are mentally. Trust where you are physically.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a physical element to grounding too. Or maybe that's just me.
No, because no.
Because that's a big thing for me.
No, I think there's definitely a physical element to it.
That safety, like you said.
Yeah, you've got to feel it. Yeah. Well, and it's why.
Well, you can't land, right?
No,
if that physical element's not there, you can't land.
And if I feel like I sitting on branches, and if you don't trust the branch, or if, if a hurricane comes and the branch starts moving, then
that's a great way. Mm-hmm. That's a great picture.
I'm not landing like in a nest. I'm landing on branches.
Right. Mm-hmm. Plop plop. Oh, plop plop. That sounds brutal. It is brutal. I've been watching you, so I know how brutal it is. Right.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be dramatic.
Oh no. A lot of times it's very subtle.
So,
yes,
we've talked about being grounded and get grounded. So how do we get grounded? What do we do?
Well, we always talk about the people around you. There are certain energies that just do not ground me. They make me want to fly fast and far and, get away from them. And it's, if we go back to nature, trees grow towards certain things and away from certain things.
Right.
And I think people do too.
Right.
If you allow yourself to grow. Otherwise, you just sit there and you wither and die on the side that's not so great.
Right. You've got to be able to pivot. Another episode.
And I just think that there's certain people that you need to surround yourself with you have to have that trust. You have to have that sense of safety somewhere.
Right. Because if we go back to that grounded being like a landing place, if you don't feel safe with a person or trust with a person, then you do that. So how do you find them?
Well, I mean, that's
you have to get out.
You have to get out. You have to, and
you have to take a risk.
You do.
You have to take a risk.
You do.
I mean, I've found some of my most grounding people. Well, of course, networking. I mean, nobody's surprised when that word comes out of my mouth. And I've also found it when somebody connects me to somebody else, like us, right? When Greg connected us. And sometimes those are the best because it's somebody I'm never going to run into, right? Yep. You and I were never going to run into each other.
Maybe. But
how would it? No. Well, I mean, obviously we were going to at some point, but seriously, it might have taken another 5 or 10 years. Well, no, you'd be gone. So then,
yeah.
You'd be off to greener pastures. So, there's that element, hello, there we go, trust again. And Greg goes, hey, I really want to, she wants to do a podcast and whatever. I'm like, sure. And we both showed up. Neither one of us chickened out.
Well, and I think that goes to our trust in Greg.
Right.
And he's a very grounding person.
Hello.
I mean, seriously grounding.
Yeah.
And so, and we trust his judgment. And so if he says, I've got this person that you need to meet, it's like, okay. So we take him as an authority.
Well, and it's interesting because I know he listens. So Greg, buckle up, Buttercup. Here we go. So I know he's going through a lot of transition now, and he doesn't feel grounded, right? You've been with him.
Yep.
And it's really hard. Really hard. I feel that way sometimes.
Oh yeah.
When somebody who's as grounded as Greg and I are not grounded. I mean, like physically and everything, all of it. When you're not feeling grounded, it's pretty scary.
Oh yeah.
And I'm all about risk and all this other stuff. But if I feel like the sands are shifting under my feet, I hate it.
Well, you know what? It's making me think of driving in here today. That huge tree.
Oh, that's why I had no power. For
that's what
hours.
I figured. Yeah. There's a huge tree at the entrance of her neighborhood.
It's a beautiful oak tree, hundreds of years old.
Toast. And we've had some high winds and everything.
It was wind because there was no lightning. The wind just blew it out.
Yeah, I mean it's
the top
ginormous. And I think that's the thing that when these winds of change come and try to rock your foundation,
right?
It's unsettling,
right?
Whereas when you're somebody as crazy as me, you just glide. You've learned to glide, but you still don't trust where you're going to land.
Well, you still don't like it. But I'm like, this is the way I choose to live my life all the time. Hello, with shifting sands under my feet. But there's sometimes when it feels like it's just too much, and then something happens, and I'm like, oh, no, it's not.
But you know what? To keep a tree healthy and to keep something grounded healthy, you got to prune. And so sometimes
I don't know pruning. I'm thinking about more than things come across to me. I'm like, oh, nice.
Well, I think sometimes a nice little bird nests in your branches, and sometimes a wind takes one off.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but you still grow,
right?
That's the whole thing. The whole point of being grounded is to have some place to grow from.
All right, now I got two. So the whole. Okay, so this is literally how we do this, people. I told you I was going to record it one day. So say that again.
The whole point of being grounded is to have a place to grow from.
That's awesome.
And I think for me, this unsettledness that I've had is the fact that I've been able to temporarily stop and grow.
Yeah. And
then the branch gets a little wonky and I'm flying again.
Right.
And I don't think you can grow in the air. I think you have to have some stability.
Oh, that's funny. Because here's how I picture it. Okay, because I talked about the taproot. And, taproots are gigantic.
Yeah.
Like gigantic. So what I pictured for you with your tree is like a little root. Mm-hmm. So that, you get blown around by the insanity that you're going through right now, and your tree comes up. But it doesn't come up all the way, because there's still those roots.
Yeah.
But there's not that tap root that keeps it from, bending all the way down and bending all the way down. So, yeah. So, what do you do? Well, you said it, but say it again. See if there's something else. To stay grounded when this stuff is going on, because you got a lot going on.
I do. Well, I mean, and like you said, it starts internally. Mm-hmm. So sometimes I have to go inside, do my meditations, and yoga and things like that.
So get back inside yourself instead of outside of everything.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I like that.
That way that's where it's got to start. Mm-hmm. It's got to start inside before I can bring it outside. Mm-hmm. And we keep doing metaphors. I just keep thinking of birds, how they kind of put their wings around themselves and for protection. Yeah. That's kind of what I do. I mean, I go cover up in my wings and go inside, mentally go inside and start there, because everything is like an inside job. You see those little memes all the time on Facebook. It's an inside job. It really is. Then I have cultivated people in my life, like you and Greg, that are grounding forces.
Yeah.
So, I rely on that. I rely on doing the podcast, having the stability of this day.
Yeah.
Having my meetings that I have with Greg. Uh-huh. So those are things that I know, at least for a few hours in a day, I will be grounded.
Right.
And I have something. So scheduling things with people and places that ground you. I don't like working out in a gym. I like working out in nature. Mm-hmm. So I'll run or walk or whatever I'm doing at the time outside more than I'll do it inside.
Yeah.
There's some things you need to do inside, but I prefer to do as much as possible outside as much as possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's where...
Well, going outside is one of the number one ways to get grounded.
Yeah.
There was something on Facebook this weekend with pictures of the brain when you're barefoot outside and when you're not.
Well, there's a whole thing called grounding, doing that.
Right, exactly.
Connecting with the nature, connecting with the earth.
Yep.
I mean, we've done that before when we've had crazy days, and before we started a podcast, go out and stand in your backyard.
Right, exactly. Well, I think that's important, and we forgot to say that. Just go outside. I think for you that's a big one. For me, I did go sit on the porch, and I think it's good. For me to get grounded, I have to shut up the voices in my head, so I read.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
I read because if I meditate, no, sorry, that's just more voices in my head. but if I read, I just read light stuff, not heavy stuff.
Water
and that water
grounds me too. So if I can't, I could spend probably my entire life on a boat.
Right.
I would be probably in heaven. But since you can't do that all the time, or at least not yet, I take a tub. When I'm really whacked out, I will get in the bathtub because the water, as fluid as it is, it grounds me.
Yeah, I get that. I lay on the floor. Corpse pose works for me. A trick. Because I'm concentrating on putting my shoulder blades down and laying everything down, and just everything just relaxes. It's my favorite.
One other thing I realized that I do, I realized that this weekend because I was listening to a bunch of music bouncing around. I literally will bounce around for a while.
Oh,
and then stop.
Yeah, I get that. I like trampolines. Yep.
Mm-hmm. I was just doing it around my house.
Yeah, but that's flying, because we both like to be like flying and all over the place, right?
Yeah, right? but sometimes you have to get that energy out.
I agree.
And
that's laying on the floor for me.
I have to do that and then stop.
Yeah,
and then
I have to turn off all the noise. I have to turn off all the sounds. Mm-hmm. That was pretty cool the night the power was out, because it was really quiet. The few street lights we have on my street were off. I hate street lights, so there was no stray light. It was a really clear night. I couldn't finish watching my Clemson game, but we all make sacrifices. And I went out and I looked outside. It was just beautiful. Yeah, just beautiful, and that was a very grounding moment, even in all the craziness.
Yeah, that's another thing I'll do sometimes to ground, is get as many senses shut down as possible.
Right, too much.
Go somewhere very dark, very quiet.
Right.
Very still, so.
Yep, I think that's good. So, Wow.
We did it again.
We did it. All right. So now we're going to pick which of the two stamps of brilliance we're going to use. And we will be right back.
Alrighty. Today, the stamp of brilliance is the whole point of being grounded is to have a place to grow from.
Period. End of story.
Yep. Alrighty, thank you for listening. If you enjoy the podcast, please share it with a friend. Also take a minute and rate it and leave a review on iTunes. Check out our website at uniquelybrilliant.me and sign up to have the podcast delivered directly to your inbox. Shoot any thoughts, comments, suggestions to us at uniquelybrilliant.me. And you can also reach out to us on our Facebook page, and don't forget to like us. And now you can find us on YouTube as well.
Yep. Just click on it and there it is. Nothing to download from YouTube. Alrighty. Until next time.